All right, Viking ass face. Let's hear it.
Well, yeah, this Viking was a real ass face. I was working for Jimmy the Greek, and he already had this Viking.
Jimmy the Greek?
The Jimmy the Greek, yeah.
Now, what city was this in?
Sacramento. That's where he lives.
Right.
Yeah. I know there are imitators in other places, but he needed some concrete work done, and so he got this.
Well, you did concrete work for Jimmy the Greek. I almost said geek.
I would never do concrete work for Jimmy the Geek. You know why?
Why?
Come dessert time, that dude doesn't know when to stop. It's like you lay down all this concrete, you come back like 3 days later, it's like, where'd it go? You know? Well, Jimmy the Geek got hungry again. Like, it wasn't working out, so I switched over. What I did was I turned on autocorrect. It came out Jimmy the Greek. I said, okay, locked it in, turned off autocorrect, started working for that guy. And he had this Viking already working for him. And this man really knew his way around a jackhammer. As in, when he'd run first time I ran a jackhammer, the suggestion was, okay, you guys go ahead and trade off every 15 minutes or something if you want to. And see, that's the difference between having run a jackhammer and not.
Is that a pneumatic jackhammer? Or
pneumatic jackhammer. You'll find out that
Real
once
deal.
you're running it, you're ready to trade off every 3 minutes, not 15. But this guy was evenly matched with a jackhammer. They're like 1-for-1 battle. And so I'm just trying to give you an idea of the scale of physiology that we're talking about here. This guy was a Viking. And what the crux of the story is that I got Jimmy the Greek to do a major cringe where he thought he was going to turn himself inside out and rip himself apart at the same time. The kind of cringe where your face is trying to fall apart, your teeth are trying to swallow themselves, your brain doesn't know which ear to crawl out of because he thinks he's about to see somebody die and there's nothing he can do about it. How does it come to this? Well, lunchtime, we're all packed into the truck. Jimmy the Greek is driving, the Viking's on the other side. Okay. I get the middle. I know the colloquialisms will serve me well. That's fine. It is what it is. So, off to lunch we go. And one doesn't always call each other formally by name. We have nicknames, we have appellations, we have shortcuts, you know. And I mentioned to Jimmy that I'm going to do this, and then this ass face right here, going to blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, and here I am with a... We're going to ignore all of the Kiwi and Ewok battles going on around us because Kiwis and Ewoks are both flightless kind of birds. What was the question?
No, I'm still listening about, you had Jimmy the Greek in the truck. Viking.
Jimmy the Greek was driving the truck, and that matters because this guy has to maintain the ability to steer a truck while dealing with the fact that he thinks he's about to see somebody die and he can't do anything about it. So where does your energy go? Your energy goes into gripping the wheel. You ever see a steering wheel get indentations in it? It's fascinating. The poor man was full of tension all of a sudden. Why? Because of me? Because of this ass face next to me? Because of something I said?
That was Jimmy the Greek that was under tension a lot?
Jimmy the Greek himself was about to...
Wasn't he a radio personality in Sacramento?
He is a little bit radioactive, but that's...
Why was he so well known around Sacramento?
No, that's a different Jimmy the Greek. That's a mere imitator. The well-known one outside of Sacramento doesn't matter.
Okay.
Listen, there are two kinds of people. Okay? You're the kind that only wishes you were in Sacramento, right? Right. For a lot of people go there on vacation during fire season.
You once stated that you put the sack in Sacramento.
No, I put the tomatoes into the sack. I put the tomatoes into the sack of tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
It was not what I started out to do. It works out that way, as you know, because it is one of the deadly nightshades. And I am accustomed to working with all of the 7 deadly nightshades. Pride, envy, gluttony, sleepy, doc, sneezy. I worked with all of them.
Wait, doc's a deadly sin? I'm just kidding.
I'm going to dox you later. You'll see what a deadly sin it is. Okay?
Sounds deadly.
No. And when you get swatted later on, it's not going to be the kind you dream about on YouTube where it's all fun and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah,
No. When you get swatted later today, it's going to be with a fly swatter I didn't even wipe off.
You're really nobody today. in journalism unless you've been swatted. Or politics.
I blame that on Jimmy the Greek, who's known outside of Sacramento, which is his own doing, his own fault. But the real Jimmy the Greek, over there in Sacramento, he's stuck in this truck, wondering what the rest of his life is going to be now that he's about to see somebody die and he can't do anything about it. How does it come to this is the question. Well, the prequel to this situation was the Viking explained he got caught in a bad situation, buried in the dark, in the cold, as one does when things just don't always go right. You know, you can be in subterranean chambers sometimes where you lose all contact, all power, all life-sustaining energies. He assured me that an insect after 4 days is quite the delicacy.
Did he ever, Jimmy Greek ever tell you what type of insect he was eating?
Let's clarify, Jimmy the Greek was not the sort to divulge what kind of insect he was eating. No, I'm talking about the ass face. What made a real ass face out of the guy?
The Viking ass face.
What made him into a real Viking ass face was the fact that it's not that being in the dark for 4 days bothered him. It's not that being in the cold for 4 days bothered him. It's not that being on an insect diet for one of those 4 days bothered him when he was finally able to catch one. No. I think what annoyed him was the flash fire that rendered everything immobile, so the poor man is stuck underground. The armed services offered him counseling. Most people would take it. He didn't do the math. He didn't figure out that he needed some kind of counseling. He needed some kind of guidance. He thought, no, it's just another day. You shake it off, you walk it off. Time gives me all the healing I need. He didn't go in for any kind of therapy or counseling. You know, it was time to go back into that kind of situation. He figured, only then, I can't do this. He physically could not force himself to do it. The only alternative was, he was AWOL. That's a temporary condition. So he wound up in the brig, and he wasn't the same person he was before that flash fire. No. He was a large man, and they had found an ample supply of skin to save his face. So he was literally an ass face. He laid out the whole story for me when we first met, because sometimes people just click.
A literal ass face. So what they do is skin graft from his ass to his face?
Yes.
Literally
because
an ass face.
They literally did some surgery and grafting, because the only other way to get the skin from his ass to his face would have been advanced yoga, and he was too large a man to be subjected to advanced yoga like that.
Is there really such thing as advanced yoga? I mean, yoga's fucked up on its own.
Well, what I'm going to have to do is see if he could introduce me to some other Viking ass faces and see if they did it any other way. Because then I'll know. Do they all get it done by grafting? Or is there this form of advanced yoga out there available?
I should have known better when you originally introduced the story of Viking ass face to me. I had no idea that it was going to get to this, to where we're at right now. So,
well, as you know, most of my stories do involve a flash fire at some point.
Yeah, I want to hear about the flash fire.
Well, I don't have any detail about it. It's just that it's the kind of thing that can happen. And if you're stuck in a subterranean chamber and you get cut off from the world for 4 days, you have a hard time. You might pray that you live. You might pray that you don't live. It is what it is. He wound up where he wound up. A viable,
was he
employable...
a coal miner? Or?
No, he's quite old. He was far from a miner. I imagine at some point he may have been a miner, but he's one of those people that probably started out about 13 years old and hit the ground running. Just real major league force of nature, this guy. So picture it. I'm equipped with the knowledge that the guy is a genuine ass face. And he and I get along fine. We're very much what you call on the same frequency, simpatico. Instantly hit it off, that kind of thing. That happens. Jimmy the Greek doesn't know that. He dropped us off at work. He went to tend to this and that. He comes to pick us up. We're all commuting to lunch now. Lo and behold, he doesn't know what good friends we are. It just hits him out of the blue that I referred to this huge Viking next to me as this ass face. This is why he squeezed the steering wheel into a new shape, cringing, thinking he's about to witness a death. Well, he didn't witness a death, except for, okay, let me tune you back into Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton firmly believed that matter could never be destroyed absolutely. Well, Sir Isaac Newton should have been there with us that day to update his error. He would have been able to correct this presumption of his, because we went to Carl's Jr., and I assure you that burger and curly fries were destroyed absolutely.
All right, if anybody